Hi everyone, I'm Ali. Welcome to the channel. It was only a few videos ago that I posted a KDP warning, and I have another one. So don't let one little simple mistake ruin any chance that you have for KDP success. If you want to know more about this, then make sure you stick around. Just use this Artex box to carefully prop the camera up here, shall we? There we go. Please don't fall. I'm just having a little bit of a read through an article that I found, and also from some videos that I've watched just recently, which is talking about Creative Fabrica and a huge lawsuit that's been rolled out against some users of that platform. It's very interesting stuff.
I'm coming after you.
Now, if you haven't seen Creative Fabrica before, it is a website that you can sign up and subscribe to, so you pay to that. And I initially signed up to Creative Fabrica because I owned a Cricut. You could easily go in there and I could download SVG files that I could use for either around the house or also for school. Later on, when I started doing some work around KDP, then I started looking at Creative Fabrica for things like downloadable PDF files that, you know, could customizable and you can upload them up into KDP. It all seemed a bit too good to be true, because not only that, if you had an Etsy store, which I also had at the time, you could upload wall art, and, you know, and they had all these designs and all of them were said, you know, commercial or print on demand licensing. And it all sounded absolutely fantastic. And I'm kind of glad that I did a little bit more research, because the site itself is absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend that as a source of creative inspiration. I really do. Because you can take elements from that, and so long as you are changing them up and you're making them into something that is unique, you can be doing that, including only those ones that have print on demand permissions and commercial permissions, of course. The issue that I believe has happened from this lawsuit, and I'm not talking about one person here, this is multiples. I mean, upwards, you know, more than 50 people are actually being included in this lawsuit. And these are probably very small business owners or Etsy shop owners that are being slammed right now for elements from Creative Fabrica that they've used in their stores. So if I can give you a scenario in a nutshell without dragging on and banging on this video too long about it, they've gone to Creative Fabrica, they pay for a subscription, they've downloaded a print for a t-shirt, for example, that said that it had full commercial and print on demand terms. They've then slapped it on a t-shirt and they have it for sale in their Etsy shop. Next thing you know, they're getting a letter from a lawyer saying that they are in breach of copyright and that the original owner of that artwork now wants compensation for the fact that they've made money off of their artwork. I mean, that pretty much sums it up in a nutshell. The interesting thing about this is that the person who actually owned the design never uploaded it to Creative Fabrica. Somebody else has stolen that design, uploaded it to Creative Fabrica to make a buck. That person has taken that, thinking that that was the original owner. But the thing is that Creative Fabrica doesn't have a vetting type arrangement. People can just upload whatever they want, and it's up to individuals to then make sure that what they're getting from Creative Fabrica is in fact from the original source, which is almost near impossible. So I guess my advice to you today is the same advice that I've given you all the way along. Use programs like Creative Fabrica because they are absolutely fantastic for ideas. You can go in there and you can have a look at different illustrations and examples, etc., and use them to create something quite unique yourself. I'm not telling you not to use Creative Fabrica. I love it. I love the site. I go there quite often and get some inspiration. In fact, just the other day I was looking for some examples of colouring in pages that I could create for a farm type colouring in book, and I ran out of ideas for what was on the farm, so I just went into Creative Fabrica and had a look at what they had and what they were selling, and I looked at the little pictures and I thought, yep, cow, pig, dog, whatever, and I haven't included a tractor or a windmill. So I went back into the AI generated software I was using and typed in those two elements. So that was one example. Another way that I've used it is I had an idea for a cocktail making journal, And I didn't quite know how to set it out or what elements to use, so I went to Creative Fabrica and I downloaded an example of one, and I had a look at some of the headings and examples that they had in theirs, and then I added the things that I had missed in mine, generated up a whole new look, and Bob's Your Uncle, new book up on KDP. I'm waffling now, aren't I? I just think that if you're trying to build up a business and you're starting out and it's a little bit of passive income with maybe a goal to make it into something bigger down the track, and then something like this happens to you and it turns into an absolute nightmare, I reckon that would absolutely suck. And from what I saw on one YouTuber's story about this whole debacle, is that for a lot of people, they're trying to settle outside of court so as not to incur all the fees. There was one example that she had there, and I'm not going to factually recount it, I'm just going to make it up here, but to give you an idea. But somebody used one of the images, may have sold a product in their store that cost them $50, and now they're being slapped with a lawsuit saying that they need to pay $2,500 for something that costs $50. The set was bought for $50. So there's arrangements that they're trying to do to settle sort of outside of court. I don't know what this means for Creative Fabrica in the long run, and how they'd ever go back and make sure that a lot of their... I don't think they can. I really don't think sites like this who offer images like this can fix it. I just don't know how they'd go about that. Be a lot of work. And it also makes me think, how safe are other sites? For example, we often look at, for example, when I've been doing a lot of research for KDP, Pixabay or Raw Pixel come up. Now, those sites, they're generated by people uploading images too. What's to say that some of those images that are being uploaded to those sites aren't photographs that have been taken from elsewhere that don't belong to the person who's uploading them? You know, it just opens up a whole can of worms. Pandora's box, more like it. So if you want to know more about that, the YouTuber that did a great story around this, in particular with Etsy, her name is Stara Moore, and she has more details about those cases themselves. But I know that there are some of you who watch this channel who are beginning out in KDP, and I just want to make sure that you don't want to go do something now that's going to then impact on your KDP, particularly if you're starting to make some good, serious money out of it. Some of those people who actually downloaded the assets from Creative Fabrica actually reached out to Creative Fabrica itself to let them know what had happened and try and get some support from there. And Creative Fabrica basically just said, it's not our problem. It's not our problem. Because there is fine print. The stuff that we never ever read. Apparently in the fine print, it says lots of things about how they are void from any responsibility for people who aren't uploading the right thing. So, nah to consumers. So what are two things that you can do? Well, one is create your own assets using AI. So it might be worth investing in something that's really good at doing that. I still think Midjourney is the best. Ideogram is up there as well, which is part of Leonardo. There are quite a few that you can choose from. The second thing that you can do is outsource and look at something like an Illustrator. Although if you're going to do this, because Fiverr also has illustrators too, be very mindful because they're also collecting assets from things to illustrate. So maybe you'd need to choose somebody who is a local artist or somebody who is going to absolutely draw those pictures from scratch. I'm a bit of a cynicist, aren't I? I'm sorry, I don't mean to be so cynical, but yeah, it's just all a bit daunting. The third thing that you can do is read that fine print and really know the site, what you can and can't do, and what limitations there might be. And I know that is the most boring thing in the world to do, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to really protecting yourself and your business or your livelihood or your passive income, it's probably not a bad thing to go in and have a look at. Just remember that if you are going to source images from Creative Fabrica, or you're going to use AI, or you're going to outsource those images through a third party, the key is to ensure that those things are 100% unique, and also that they are legal. And this is all very, very overwhelming. And that's why if you subscribe to the channel, I can take you through some different options that you may have for generating KDP content, and also try and let you know ahead of time about any issues that I see that could impact on that. Don't forget to chuck a like on the video. Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you'd like to know more about KDP or passive income, or also any of the creative art and craft stuff that I get up to. Until then, stay creative, and I'll see you in the next video.